Here's your wrestling news for December 17th, 2021. And your headlines for today include how much Kevin Owens is making with new WWE contract, AEW's reaction, real reason why Kevin Owens signed with WWE, and more. Johnny Gargano drops big tease about facing Kenny Omega. Former WWE superstar teases AEW debut. Very peculiar expectations of Vince McMahon towards Charlotte Flair. Future of FTR in AEW. Jake Hager reveals the released WWE superstars who shouldn't have been part of the Inner Circle. AEW wrestler signs with WWE. Legendary WWE manager returns to action, and more. We're kicking off today with Kevin Owens, who after months of reports and speculation signed a new contract with WWE this week, one that'll keep him around for years. With AEW interested in signing the former Universal Champion, WWE had to offer the prizefighter a huge sum to re-sign, and we now know more about his new deal. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer reported that Owens' new deal is for 3 years, and it's worth $2 to $3 million a year. Meltzer added that this was significantly more than AEW were going to pay him, and said that the paperwork was actually signed a few weeks ago, but it's only now come to light. Earning $2 to $3 million a year isn't quite the same as WWE's very top stars, as the likes of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar are reportedly on $5 million deals. But between his new contract and being in the WWE Championship picture, the future looks especially bright for the company's resident prizefighter. Owens' new deal may be close to that of what WWE's very top superstars are earning, but there are some huge differences between their contracts and his. On his show, Meltzer said that the new deal doesn't come with a no-cut clause, which is usually typical of WWE's very top names. This means that Owens can be released at any moment by WWE, as neither Bray Wyatt nor Braun Strowman had no-cut clauses as part of their contracts either. Owens isn't safe from the cuts, but he is going to have a lighter schedule, as Meltzer said that the new deal will see him work live events every other week, as well as the weekly Monday Night Raw tapings. Owens will be one of the 3 men who challenge WWE champion Big E at Day 1, and while KO could soon be the very top champion of the Red brand, even he isn't immune from the dreaded budget cuts. There are some who are disappointed that Owens re-signed with WWE, as a wealth of possible dream feuds were open to him in AEW. In addition to reuniting Mount Rushmore, Owens could have feuded with the likes of Hangman Adam Page, CM Punk, or MJF, which can't happen now that he's back under contract. Fans may be disappointed, but that's not the same sentiment within AEW, as sources inside the company who spoke to Fightful Select said that most people are happy for him and that he's maintained good relationships with those in AEW despite being a WWE superstar. One source stated that, "Anyone who knows Kevin knows his priorities are with his family first, so you have to be happy for him." The former Universal Champion clearly believes that staying with WWE is best for his family, and they'll certainly have more money in the bank than what AEW were offering to pay him, but there's no bad blood against Owens for not being all elite. Speaking to TVA Sports with Pat Laprade, a French-language commentator for WWE, Owens explained why WWE was the right call for him, his wife, and his kids, saying, "I'll just say that my contract still ends on January 31st, but not 2022. I will still be in WWE for several years. That decision was pretty easy because it was the best thing for my family, really. When it comes to that, it's always a pretty easy decision to take. WWE has been my home for 7 years now, so I have a sense of belonging. Basically, I spent the majority of my career here. When you look at all the wrestling companies I've wrestled for, in WWE, that's where I've been the longest. That's where I need to be for the next few years. That's how I felt, and that's the decision I made." With a multi-million-dollar contract to his name, Owens is certainly going to be able to look after his family, and with reports that he won't be spending as much time on the road at live events, the Owenses will get to see plenty more of their prize-fighting patriarch. Last week, Johnny Gargano's WWE contract expired without a non-compete clause, meaning he's free to wrestle as soon as he wishes. It's been reported that despite this clause, Gargano won't wrestle until the birth of his and Candice LeRae's child, who is expected in early 2022, but that doesn't mean he can't discuss future matches. On Twitch, Gargano spoke about Kenny Omega and had nothing but praise for the former AEW World Champion, adding that a dream match between them could happen. "I think Kenny Omega is one of, if not the best wrestler in the world currently. I know that it is a legitimate dream match for a lot of people, me and Kenny, and it is definitely a dream match for me too. Who knows what can happen one day." Gargano also recently stated that he'll work wherever fans want him to work, and for countless fans, that place is AEW and in the ring with the cleaner. On the latest episode of AEW Dynamite, Adam Cole promised a special Christmas surprise for next week's episode, which has fans believing that Kyle O'Reilly will soon be making his debut. Now, O'Reilly has seemingly responded to Cole's promo, as on Twitter, he posted a GIF from the movie Seven, in which Brad Pitt's character asks, "What's in the box?" During the promo, Cole was seen holding a box while informing the Young Bucks that they have a special present next week, and fans were quick to figure out what O'Reilly's tweet was referring to. When asked earlier this week about O'Reilly, Cole said he has no idea what his fellow Undisputed Era member is going to do, but said he'd love to reunite with Kyle and Bobby Fish in AEW. With no non-compete clause to his name, it's entirely possible O'Reilly could be an early Christmas gift for the AEW fans next week in what'll be a huge reunion if Tony Khan can pull it off. Now, Charlotte Flair is unquestionably one of WWE's greatest female wrestlers of all time, but her career has always been criticized because of her last name. There are fans who still insist that Flair's success is only due to being the daughter of Ric Flair, and that there's plenty other WWE superstars far more deserving of the opportunities she's received. Despite this, WWE is showing no sign of giving up on the SmackDown Women's Champion anytime soon, but the company is aware of the comparisons between father and daughter. Speaking on his Woo Nation Uncensored podcast, Ric Flair was asked why nobody copied his trademark turnbuckle flip and revealed a lot about Vince McMahon's mentality to Charlotte. "Some of the wrestlers can do my moves. I don't think Vince liked it when Ashley, Charlotte, does it because it reminds him of me. I have no idea who has stolen my moves. It's funny, you can learn every day, every match you're in, if it's somebody you're watching, which I think is very important. If you're young in the business, or even if you're in the same card as someone that's good. But I don't see a lot of guys copying my stuff." As for Charlotte, she's currently in a feud with Toni Storm, which is expected to lead to a title match at WWE Day 1, and the New Zealand-born superstar could certainly kick off 2022 with a bang if she can dethrone the Queen. More from AEW now, as FTR have had a pretty illustrious time in the company, holding both the AEW World Tag titles as well as bagging the AAA World Tag Team Championships in October this year. In an interview with Barstool Wrestling this week, the pair discussed their plans for 2022, and Cash Wheeler said that it was certainly that they would become the first ever two-time AEW World Tag Team Champions. If that is the plan, then the former Revival should hurry, as in that same interview, Dax Harwood said there's not much time left on their AEW contracts, but sees this as motivation to make more of an impact before they run out of time. Harwood went on to list the accolades FTR want to hit, as in addition to being the first two-time AEW World Tag Team Champions, the pair plan on winning the IWGP Tag Team titles as well. FTR have lofty ambitions, and we're hoping that Wheeler and Harwood get to live them out before their current contracts with AEW come to an end. Speaking of ex-WWE talent who can now be found in AEW, Jake Hager has become a big deal in the company thanks to being part of the Inner Circle after a mixed run working for Vince McMahon. Despite reigns as ECW champion, United States champion, and World Heavyweight champion, Hager spent much of his WWE tenure jobbing to others and is doing far better in AEW. Speaking on the Unrestricted podcast, Hager discussed his run as WWE World Heavyweight Champion and shared some sage advice given to him by The Undertaker. "Undertaker pulled me aside. I did something which he didn't like, so he made a point to tell me about it, but it was a good talk. He pulled me aside and was like, 'This job is only worth it if you're on top as far as financially. In the middle and down at the bottom, there's a lot of scrapping. You're away on the road too much, you need to be on top for it to be worth it.' I always took that as a grain of salt, like where I needed to be and how to really value myself as an individual. Because when you're being a pro wrestler, you really have to know what your value is so you can know what to ask for and what not to ask for." That speech from him put it into perspective a little bit more. Hager also discussed the Inner Circle, which features himself, Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz, and said that others were considered for the group. "I think what happened was Gallows and Anderson were possibly going to be in the Inner Circle, but they re-signed. So I got bumped up or came into the picture, however you want to phrase it. Chris told Tony he wanted me for the job, and the rest is history. Tony made sure I wasn't a scumbag. He had a couple of phone calls with me, and then I got to be elite. It was great. I'm so glad I got to be a part of the groundwork, the beginning team of AEW. I'm very proud of that." Had Gallows and Anderson not re-signed with WWE, an ultimately meaningless decision given that they were released in 2010 anyway, Hager may have never come to AEW, but things have certainly turned out well for the former WWE World Heavyweight Champion. In the near 3 years AEW has been around, the company has signed plenty of names from WWE, ranging from former world champions to those who never got a chance to shine. Now though, one of AEW's enhancement talents is WWE bound, as Tesha Price has signed with the opposition. Price will now go by Fallon Henley in NXT 2.0, as confirmed by her changed handle on Twitter and Instagram. Henley worked Tuesday's 205 Live taping, which will air tonight, and is best known for her time in AEW. Since November 2020, Henley worked 21 matches for Tony Khan, competing on Dynamite, Dark, and Elevation, with her final match being a loss to Hikaru Shida on the August 9, 2021 Elevation. Although WWE superstars joining AEW is common, it's rare to see things go the other way, and perhaps Fallon Henley will get opportunities that Tesha Price never did in AEW. And we're ending today with Slick, the legendary WWF manager who has made a return to the industry. At an Independent Stars of Professional Wrestling event in New Jersey this past week, Slick made an appearance and was confronted by Andy Weinberg, a heel manager of the promotion who's also the son of WWE Hall of Famer Nikolai Volkov. Slick's last appearance for WWE came in April 2016, where he posthumously inducted the Big Boss Man into the Hall of Fame, an accolade we expect the Doctor of Style himself will receive when the time is right. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.